Hi, my name is Wayne Farrell from Coaching with NLP, and today I want to talk to you about NLP, where it's come from, what it stands for, and to give you a bit of an everyday example. So let's use the example first, and talk about mobile phones. Let's use an iPhone. Nowadays phones can do all sorts of wonderful things, but most people will just be using them for phone calls, text messages, and maybe taking the odd photograph of the kids or so. And it's the reason why people don't use it for the other practicalities and the other benefits that it can have is that they just didn't read the manual. Or when they read the manual, they didn't understand the manual. Some of them, they seem like they're in foreign languages. Uh, exactly the same. Let's use an iPad or any form of tablet. Again, the same. You may get one and just use it to read a few emails, play some games. You might even use it to read your books on Kindle and so forth. And that's fine if that's all that you wanted to do. But there's so much more that these devices can do. And it's quite a shame that we only use them so limited. Now, just like these devices come with user manuals and yet people don't use them to their full capability, NLP is actually like a user manual for our brain. You see, the day we were born, we get born with this beautiful, wonderful device called the brain, but it doesn't come with a user manual. So how do we use it correctly? Well, you see, we get influenced by people throughout our entire lives. Our parents, our family, our friends, and other people that we meet throughout our life who influence us. And all of these influences are positive or negative. We see if we understand how the brain works and the power that it helps us to communicate and get the types of things that we want, it's actually a much bigger shame that we don't use our brain to its full capability. Much more so than not using a phone or a tablet, and a computer to its capabilities. So, as I said, NLP is like that user manual. And the difference between our brain, of course, and the likes of a phone and a tablet is that you can't get your 13-year-old to just reprogram it and just show you how it works. It's like they probably do with the phones. Things like helping people with negative emotions, limiting decisions, phobias, bad habits, etc. To get the types of change and the results that they want can be achieved sometimes in minutes using NLP. Uh, the likes of NLP, hypnosis, timeline therapy and coaching, we combine all of these skills together actually in our training courses and certainly also in the coaching services we offer. But yet so many people actually live with these fears and phobias and limiting decisions throughout their lives. Use an example. If somebody gets a new job and a requirement for their job is that they need to fly all over the country or different parts of the world. But this person has a fear of flying. As you can imagine, that can certainly cause them a lot of issues. Either they're going to be so tense and stressed each time, or they might get to a stage where they say actually they just won't fly anymore and subsequently can't keep their job. Well, with NLP, it's we can probably get rid of that fear within minutes. And as I said before, so many people live with these limiting decisions, these choices for the rest of their lives, and they just don't realize that if they had the user manual to their brain, i.e. NLP, that these things can be overcome so quickly. And one of the reasons is that NLP actually deals with how people do a problem. How do they do it? How can we solve it? Not why. We're not interested in getting involved in why people doing things and analyzing the problem, because analyzing it only prolongs it. And we want to deal with it, get it over and done with, and let the client be free and ready to move forward in life. So what does NLP stand for? Well, it stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and it's actually the study of the mind and nervous system, how we think, through which our experiences are processed, and how we represent the outside world to ourselves via our five senses, our visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. It's the study of language and how we use it. Language and other non-verbal communication through which our neural representations are coded, ordered and given meaning. These include pictures, sounds, feelings, tastes, smells, and also the self-talk that we do, that communication inside our heads. It's also the sequence of our actions and how we motivate ourselves to achieve our goals. You see, the ability to discover and utilize the programs that we run, our communication to ourselves and others in our neurological systems to achieve our specific and desired outcomes. NLP was actually originally created with Richard Bandler and John Grindler in the 1970s. And it started out, they went out and they started modeling people that were really excellent and got phenomenal results in their own individual fields. People like Virginia Satir, who's a renowned family therapist, and Milton Erickson, a very, very accomplished hypnotherapist, and he practiced for over 60 years. Well, what they found is that using these techniques that they learned from the likes of Virginia Satir and Milton Erickson, they found that you could actually help other people make positive changes as well by installing these same principles in yourself that they actually learned from, as again, Virginia and Milton. So these are one of the things that we look at during our training, is actually modeling and taking on this way of thinking, this way of doing things that other people do who are phenomenal with their own results. Richard Bandler actually defined NLP as an attitude and a methodology that leaves behind a trail of techniques. Through modeling this excellence by taking on the values, those beliefs, those behaviors, and mental sequencing of people, as I said, who are excellent in what they do, so that they can teach others and use those ways yourself. Thus, NLP is how to use language of the mind to consistently achieve our specific and desired outcomes. It's our user manual for the brain.